type this. This vortex is a sure thing. It's a sure thing. It's certain. The things that you want that are there are certain, and they are not holding off on revealing themselves to you. They are in fact revealing themselves to you, but you must be the realizer of what's being revealed. So it's like the broadcaster of the big tower out there that is broadcasting 50,000 watts or whatever it is these days. That's a constant that is always being broadcast. But you have to tune your tuner to the signal so that you can begin to receive, and you don't need to hear the full-blown ending result of all of it.
This comes with catching and appreciating the essences of the things that are arriving, yes?
Well, the essence first, but then it goes quickly. Once you're in that receiving mode, it moves quickly beyond essence. It moves into ideas flowing, ideas that are really pleasing to you. It moves into conversations that you begin having with strangers that are right on the subject of what you're wanting to talk about. The cooperative components and what you want to call the coincidences just keep showing themselves to you as law of attraction is always working on your behalf to give you more and more, not because you need that in order to make it happen, but because it is satisfying as it is unfolding within you along the way.
Yes. Speak to me on this. So example that pardon me, were you finished?
Yeah.
Okay. That an example, say I have this full-blown inspiration to say write something, and then the act of getting up to impart this action suddenly is like stressful, and it feels much better to just lie there and just receive all this information.
Because you're trying to jump too soon into action.
Uh-huh.
You're trying to jump too soon into action because you, like almost all other humans, believe that action's how you make it happen. And so you want to jump to the words and the volume and the action rather than to the emotion.
So in averting my attention to that, what feels better in that moment to just lie there and rest and receive all this vision, how might I best manage that approach?
By noticing the pleasure you're taking from lying there, by acknowledging that there isn't anything that you need to do right now, and that if there were, you would feel the impulse to do it, by acknowledging that this is part of the process, and that in the beginning all momentum is slower, and that slow momentum that is not being resisted with any sort of urgency is momentum that will get larger and larger, and so that you're in the right place at the right time doing the right thing. There's not something else that you should be doing differently. Everything is unfolding perfectly. Your inner being understands where you are energetically and vibrationally. Your inner being understands where your mood is, where your attitude is. Your inner being knows right where you are and is calling you with the very gentle, subtle understanding of where you are. Your inner being is never doing to you or for you what you ask us to do when you first sat down. Your inner being is never trying to solicit you or entice you or coax you into anything, because your inner being stands there knowing, emphatically, understanding completely the doneness of all of that anyway. Your inner being just stands there knowing the doneness of it and is just waiting for you to find a clear enough space that you can begin. Now, these are the key words. Your inner being is revealing to you all the time. Are you realizing what's being revealed? Feel the difference between those two concepts or words. Always being revealed, but you've got to prepare yourself to be the realizer of what's being revealed. Just now you ask us, Abraham, reveal it with such fervor that I can't not realize it. And we say, we don't want to give you the impression that that's how it works, because that's not how it works. You got to chill your way into alignment. You got to find the beginning stages of momentum. The momentum has to move naturally within you, and when it does, then it will feel like, oh, that was my idea. Then it will feel like, oh yes, I have rendezvoused with all of this. Then we feel like, yes, this is my creation, this is my manifestation, this is my rendezvous, this is my, because it is, you see. This is the most leading edge conversation that we've had about turning thoughts to things so far. And it came out of a discussion of trying too hard to turn the thoughts to things.
One more time.
It came out of a discussion of trying too hard to turn the thoughts to things.
Yeah.
And that's because you've been standing in a place thinking that this is the real deal, that this is the reality, all of this manifestation, sorting things into piles, good piles, bad piles, Republican piles, Democrat piles, sorting all this stuff into piles, squabbling over the piles, instead of realizing this is old news, that where it's at is the vortex. You got to hook to that current. You got to hook to the current and do it. Why? Because it makes things happen? No. Because it feels good?
Feels damn good.
As we come to an end of the discussion today, we have a word that we would encourage you to reach for just a little while, because most humans are looking for success. Successful relationships, successful financial situations, successful. And we just want you to think for a minute with us, or feel for a minute with us, that what true success is alignment. And what true success feels like is joyful. What you're really reaching for. There isn't anything that any of you want that is for any other reason than you believe that you will feel better in the having of it. So the success that you're reaching for is joy. But we want to step back from that momentous word, or that word that has so much momentum. And we want to start with a word, with an experience that you can accomplish oh so much more easily for just a little while. Just give it 2 days, maybe 3. If instead of reaching for success or even joy, you will let your quest be satisfaction. I want to feel satisfied. I want to feel satisfied, because your inner being will give you right now as much as you are able to receive. So that satisfaction factor will increase more and more and more. In other words, ultimately, once you get the hang of this, you'll be much more satisfied in passion than you would in contentment. The satisfaction, it feels way better. If you're moving down the highway going 100 miles an hour and you hit a tree, it's a big problem. If you're going 5 miles an hour and you hit a tree, not such a big problem, because the tree is the resistance. So we don't want you to go faster than the absence of your resistance allows you to go naturally. Don't try to hype it up, but just feel for a little while the difference between being satisfied and being successful, or being satisfied and feeling appreciation or love or passion. Just let yourself be satisfied, because what that means is the softer, simpler thoughts will feel better. Lie in your bed as you were describing, and rather than trying to write a song or write a book or solve the problems of the world, just lie there and feel satisfaction in how comfortable your bed is, or how good the room temperature is. Just look for evidence of satisfaction. Look for evidence in your now of satisfaction. Just evidence of satisfaction. Esther loves this rug, and she can hardly believe that this rug gets to go to every city, so she gets to stand on it just about every Saturday. It's so satisfying to have this rug with Esther. Jerry and Esther found it almost 30 years ago. They didn't haul it anywhere for a long time. It just stayed there no matter where they were. Now this rug goes everywhere Esther goes, just about, and it is so satisfying. Now it seems silly to focus on something, but you know, the fringe was never trimmed right on this rug. It never was, but it's so satisfying because it looks just like it always looked. It's from Iran. It's a Tabriz. It's a famous pattern. Sometimes you see it on television. Esther sees it every now and again in the White House or some places where they probably don't know it's from Iran. Anything, any reason that you can find to just focus for a minute and milk it a little bit lets the momentum of your alignment pick up a little bit of speed, and then you have access to something that ultimately will bring you more satisfaction and more satisfaction and more satisfaction and more satisfaction just in the focus on it. And then there will be a tipping point not very far in, usually for those of you who are just starting with this, about 3 days in, a tipping point where the thought will turn to a thing, to an experience, to an exposure, to an encounter, to a $22,000 check in the mailbox. The tipping point is so much closer than anyone knows, because it's a rare one of you who is willing to stay satisfied long enough to let your thoughts turn to things. We've enjoyed this interaction so much more than you know. It is so satisfying to us to feel you incrementally moving into the knowledge that is who you really are. The resonance that you feel here and there scattered through a conversation like the one we've had today. While you feel a little of the satisfaction, we feel enormous satisfaction in the satisfaction that you feel. We want to give you that whole cycle. We know what you're reaching for, and we know where it is. So we spoon feed it to you so that you can find a piece of it. And when you do, you feel soft, mild satisfaction. But we feel the momentum of the most creative juices that have ever been flowed. So for us, when you feel satisfaction, we feel passion and enthusiasm beyond verbal description. You can only feel as much of the passion and enthusiasm as we feel. You can only feel, to the degree that you are able to allow it, the passion and enthusiasm that we are feeling. So you might say, that was nice, or that was satisfying. But don't let what you're feeling reflect to you or make you think that that's what we're feeling, because we are always feeling so much more. But you're only getting as much of what we are feeling as you are able to allow. So wherever that satisfaction factor is just fine. Are you following us? Don't hype it. Let it be wherever it is and watch it grow into something that will just take your breath away. We've loved every minute of this conversation, especially this last part. There is great love here for you.